So, yeah, you talked about the status quo and challenging the status quo. So, which paradigms do you think need to be challenged in your field of expertise in the world?
At the moment, before I was really advocating, before this crisis, I was really advocating for strong legacy brands that hold up a cultural identity to look at themselves deeper in their corporate governance and their CSR. So I typically pick up annual reports, go to shareholder meetings as an investor myself, pull up a bunch of friends who are in that field, talk about certain things that, hey, could be bettered. And then if there is something that we can improve, we will improve. So before it was always about CHROs picking up a better role. I mean, because I've always worked in the employer branding stance, right? I mean, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, it was different. And I guess because my career started in transformation, I'm always looking for when that earthquake's going to happen, and do we have a robust enough identity that will bring us together, So at the moment now, that focus of like, okay, let's get, companies, comms and HR to work together better with their strategy team, build those structures in. Now it's become a desperate run for human capital understanding. And that's really difficult because a lot of companies don't want to expose those things at the moment because they're not sure what they want to do. So I don't know when those doors are going to really open. But I suspect I really have to start to focus on recruitment firms and what is happening in talent as well. And then probably delve a little bit more into labor laws and how things are working there. So it's a lot of now putting different generational perspectives in a room, getting everyone excited about a singular point and just going that way. Otherwise, there's not going to be much help with anything. And I think a lot of markets right now, if you look at the V curve that we all Washington is expecting to return, it's not going to return if you don't watch job attrition next to unemployment, for example. If companies are still pushing out their best assets every 2-3 years, every 5 years, how are you going to build anything for the future? Because that big white space is still there. That's where the new business models are, and that's where the money is. So I tell people 15 business models that I could do in my little do tank. But do I do it under my brand? No, not necessarily. I do it under other brands. I help other brands. Should I join a fund? Sure. But it will take me time to probably figure out if they're actually of the same value spectrum as well. So I think human capital is a topic we have to get into collectively, everyone in impact, because if you can't sustain this big flux that we're having right now, and if you don't know what the MNCs are talking about when they mean human capital, or what the SMEs talk about when they mean human capital, or what the solopreneur talks about, then we're going to miss each other. Again, it comes back to that, crisis caused empathy. So this has to be raw, and it's unfortunate when sometimes you bring up the word human capital and people say, I don't really want to talk about it. HR is dealing with it. Until that's fully done, we can open up that conversation. And I'm like, being part of the banking industry before, during the other crisis, like not much has changed. So why would you change now? And if you're uncomfortable to talk about it, you're uncomfortable to talk about it. But questions like, are companies or are organizations doing good exit interviews? Are they still understanding people's personal goals? So are they building personal purpose plans? Do they want to know those things, right? Do they want to know that their employees are looking for jobs on the side and they're just sticking around with this job now because they have to? What can you do more to give them more value, to make them feel more valuable, things like that. So I think human capital is huge, and it's just the beginning of the numbers that we see, and that's really, really sad, really unfortunate, because the other worry I have is the recovery rate. No one's talking about recovery rate in this talent space, which is, let's face it, it's one leg in in the entire organization is people, it's people that hold everything up. But I don't see a lot of content coming out about how they're going to recover. Yeah.
Okay.